So hello internet, I am back again. I told you once I got into the flow of grabbing the camera I would not stop, and that is what is happening. And mainly because Sony have said something which I have to say has completely pissed me off, and I did say in previous videos, back in the Friday Night Rant I used to hold my tongue a little bit on the PlayStation stuff because I thought a lot of the fans would backlash because they're very vocal a lot. And as I said, fuck it, I don't really care now, and I want to say my opinion because I think Sony's completely wrong doing this. So, what we got then? EA Access, shown its face yesterday. I spoke a lot about it and I spent all day playing it, and already I've got my $3.99's worth just from last night, let alone that I've got another month's worth of gaming to have out of it. So the service, in my opinion, is absolutely brilliant. At the same time, we spoke that obviously it's exclusive to the Xbox and obviously PC because they've got the Origin. And I didn't understand if it was because EA was in bed with Microsoft or whatever it was. And it's come out that EA actually intended to have this service on the PlayStation, but Sony turned around and says they didn't want it because they didn't think it was good value. Now, I'm sorry, but there's two things that piss me off about this. First of all, if you're a PlayStation fan and you're not a dickhead, this isn't you. It's the dickhead fans. It's the fanboys that cannot see anything wrong out of a company. Now, I love Microsoft. I prefer that console. But when they do something wrong, like for instance, they put Netflix, etc. behind the paywall, I'd always hold my hand up and say, that's wrong. You need to change that, Microsoft. So if they do something wrong, I'll always call them up. And the problem is with a lot of Sony fans, they will never pull Sony up. They'll just justify it all the time. So a lot of people, I've gone on to IGN, which is a terrible place to go, Eurogamer, all the websites, and looked at the comments, and a lot of people going, good, we didn't want it anyway because yes, it is a terrible service. And I was just like, how can you say in one breath $3.99 for a month's worth of gaming is bad service, but at the same time, PlayStation now are charging around about £4 for 4 hours. So people can justify that, but when EA do it for a damn sight, the fraction of the price, everyone's like, yeah, no, EA's stupid. So they kind of back up Sony. And the thing is as well, they're kind of saying, we don't think it's good value for money. Well, that's not your fucking place to say. When it comes down to it, you're supposed to give us, the gamers, the choice. Now, it's like somebody's turning around and saying, you know what, I believe Netflix isn't good service. I don't give a shit if you think it's not good service. The point is, allow that app on the console. The app doesn't force itself on you, it sits there. And if you want to get the subscription to that service, then you purchase it. If you don't even install the app. It's not a problem, it sits there silently. So the best thing about these consoles is choice. We've got Netflix, we've got all these different things going on. And obviously when EA's took it to Microsoft and says we want to have this rental service as such for gaming, they said yes, and blonk, on it went to Microsoft. Whereas Sony said no. And the thing that pisses me off is they've said because it's not good value. Well, first of all, I don't care if you go in the comments and say, well, it isn't really bollocks, it is good value. Even Machinima and everybody like that said this is one of the best value services that we've had in a long time. So it is good service, and what PlayStation actually mean to say is, we don't want it because we've already got a service in place and you don't want to step on our toes. So they've got obviously PlayStation Now, which is going to be a streaming rentable service, and you've got PlayStation Plus, which again you could say it's a rentable service because if you don't carry on your subscription, you no longer have access to the games. So they've got something like that in place. But also, so does Microsoft. They have games for gold, but it didn't stop Microsoft allowing it. So now we have choice. We have multiple ways of getting games. Do we go for games for gold? Do we go with EA Access? And that's the point. Give us lots of different options and let us choose. And Sony, damn right, has done it because they don't want EA stepping on their toes because they've already got two kind of eco structures in place that does that similar service. So first of all, fuck you, Sony, for even doing that. You should give us the option. All the time you say, for the gamers, unless it takes money out of our pocket, then it's not for the gamers. No, you can't have that service, we're going to remove that. So bollocks about are you for the gamers, because there is a great service for the gamers and you're denying them. And second of all, these are the dickhead Sony fans. Like I said, there is billions of great Sony fans. I love when I talk to the fans saying, I like this or I hate this, and I can talk to them and say, yes, that's great, I love my PlayStation because this. Because as I said, I've got a PlayStation, a few things I don't like, and I like talking to PlayStation users saying, but don't you think that's crap? Yes, but don't worry, Microsoft always does this crap. So that's the thing, it's good to have a chinwag about the good and bad things of all products. But you do have this subsection of Sony fans that, as I said, will always justify Sony's actions. But the problem is, they're the most vocal. So I went onto Eurogamer and somebody said a comment for such as, I believe this is good value, the EA access. Well, that comment's not offensive to the Sony fans, it's not anything, it's just saying I believe it's good value. Nothing bad about it. It had more down votes than it did up votes, which means the people that was looking at that article are obviously trying to defend Sony's actions and they're down voting it. But the point is, this goes on a larger scale. When I was looking at people, I read more people justifying, going, we don't want that service anyway, EA is shit, blah, blah, blah. And I only found a small amount of people who actually says, well, I would have liked the option Sony. So the problem is, I think more people actually would have liked the service than would have hated it. But a lot of people aren't vocal. They're kind of just armchair gamers. They just go, I'm not going to get into that debate. And that's great. You don't get into the debates because they're fucking stupid. But the problem is, now all these people are being vocal. It only takes Sony to kind of look at it and they go, right, we said we didn't want this service. They have a look at all the comments and everyone's saying, yep, you did correct, Sony. So they're not going to change their ways. Now, let's go back 2 years, back at E3, when Microsoft first announced that it was going to do a console, which was obviously going to be a 24-hour connection kind of thing. Now, all the Microsoft fans kind of jumped up and went, we don't want this is stupid, and Microsoft listened and they changed their ways. And they've been really, really good with that. There's a lot of things, especially on Reddit, the r/Xbox One section. We've said a few things that we hated or what we wanted to change, and they've been done in updates. So it's like they are listening and they're changing the console to what we want it to be. Obviously within reason. There's a few things that I would like family sharing, and they have hinted that it may be coming back. But anyway, the point is, the vocal, we're changing the console and it's a good thing. The problem you've now got with the PlayStation is if people are backing up Sony going, yes, that's correct, and not fighting them, then that console is going to stay as it is. It's not going to change. And this is the point now where even if you don't want the service, you should now fight for it. People need to rally on Twitter and get a hashtag trending. They need to constantly message them. They need to be on the message boards, actually kicking off about Sony and force them to put this system, this EA access onto the PlayStation 4, even if you don't want it, because you need to force Sony's hand. You need to make them put a service on, because if not, it is going to be a lockdown box, because a lot of people have been predicting this, and especially Machinima is speaking about it a lot. Gaming's changed over time. We used to go with cartridges, then we turned to discs, and then digital slowly came. And when I first started doing these videos about 3 years ago, it was kind of around the tipping point. There wasn't much digital, and as I predict, it's going to be a heavy digital within the next few years, and that has happened. So what we're going to see now is obviously digital's pretty much here now. They're just trying to kill off physical. It's not going to happen just yet because a lot of people like to keep them, sell them, rent them and stuff like that. So when the digital service changes a bit, where we can sell on our digital games or rent the digital games, it's going to get better. But people have been saying the next step now for gaming is to have a Netflix style service where you can rent the games to the users. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but from what they've had a look that says it would work out cheap for us in the long run. So for instance, let's take Netflix. If you wanted to watch House of Cards and Orange is the Black, if you had a service where you could only buy them or something like that, it would cost you a lot more to get them as a whole. But when on a rental service, you get a bigger collection and it works out cheaper. Now, EA is obviously the first developer / publisher who's gone out now to actually do it just for their own titles. So who's to say next Ubisoft does it and other different people? And I know some people won't be happy with that, but the point is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I love it personally, but I think what we need to do is have all the different options. At the moment, you can still get it physical. So for instance, let's take Battlefield. I can buy it physically, I can buy it digitally, or I can rent it. So there's 3 ways for me to actually consume this game now, which is great. That's the point. Let's have lots of choice. Whereas what Sony are doing now is they're saying no. So then if Ubisoft was contemplating about it, they might go, well, let's not do this because obviously EA had a go, Sony shut them down. So if we did it ourselves, we'd only be able to succeed on the Xbox because Sony's probably going to shoot this idea again. So they're kind of like stifling the creativity of people and they're stopping choice is the best way to do it. So I think it's completely wrong for them to do it, and it pisses me off that they use the word in, it's not good value. You can piss right off Sony, you are smoking crack. But then to back up the justification on it as well, that says we don't want people having several different subscriptions, but yet at the same time Elder Scrolls Online has a subscription and that is on the system, so you've got that kind of in place, but you weren't bothered about that. You're more bothered about EA because it's a very similar service to what you have. And on top of it, they then turn around and says, well, PlayStation Plus is now up by 100% this year. Well, yes, that's not because your ecosystem of games has become better and now twice the many people are buying it. It's because you change your policies and says you can no longer play online for free. You now need to buy PlayStation Plus, which is fair enough. That's the way Microsoft's been for the last God knows how many years. But that's why your PlayStation Plus subscription has doubled, because you've changed the way the service is, and now people who did play online for free has to now buy the system. So that's why it's doubled. Don't turn around and say it's because of all these great games. Don't get me wrong, the games are helping. So they've kind of manipulated their own information, said it's not good value, and all of that's bullshit, because what they've done is they've stopped you having choice. And this is where the PlayStation users need to stop defending the service, even if they don't like it. Let's say Ubisoft bring this app out and they're going to do the same as EA, but they're going to charge £50 a month instead of the actual £4.99, £4. Well, I don't want that system for 50 quid, but I still want it on the console, because I want Microsoft to put it on the console and then none of us will buy it, and then Ubisoft will listen to us and go, actually that was too much, and then we can manipulate the price down, we'll vote with our wallets. So the point is, allow it onto the system. Even if you think it's overpriced, get it on there so you've got the choice, then you can moan about the prices after. But the first thing you've got to do is get that EA access onto your console. So I just think this is the first step of a very bad path for PlayStation users if you don't cry out and actually say you want this system, even if you don't want it. So that is my rant over. I know I'm bashing Sony quite a lot, but Sony needs to be bashed and need to be called up on this. This is wrong for what they're doing. So fingers crossed, people will take this, be more vocal, don't justify their actions, because even if you agree with it, some other people don't. So still get EA access into the system for the people that would like to enjoy it. So fight for what you want, and that should be choice, because at the end of the day, they are for the gamers. So let's get some choice for the gamers. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm now going to play EA Access. So take it easy, guys. Bye.